Right, we are live. Mr. Amono, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lojas, plus the entire team. Good evening, colleagues. This is Mr. Michael Wamono, one of the members of ITAU. We welcome you today to our next session under Each One Teach One, where members voluntarily come in and share with us their skills in different aspects, where members grab different kind of skills, knowledge, which can impact them in their kind of careers. Remember, this program is brought to you by ITAU and then being sponsored by Shareability Uganda and Lojas Mokalele, and then I myself and MK Graphics Designer, I myself the CEO, and then the Geek Village, which is under Mr. Dumba Steven, who is not with us right now. So I send his apologies for not having been part of us today. He's having challenges of the network, being that he's traveling. So we shall be hosting this, I and Mr. Lojas, for today. Today we are going to look at Sprite, that is programming, and our lead facilitator is going to be Madam Sheba. Remember, this program is all about sharing. So if time comes, member can share their skills, their knowledge. It's a matter of much of the sharing, though we have the facilitator. So if you also want to volunteer under these sessions, remember they are free of charge to be part of this. You don't pay any coin. Just come into our inbox, either I myself, Mr. Dumba, or Mr. Lojas, or you can pass via our general WhatsApp group of ITAU, and then we can reach out to you. So good evening once again, and wish you good during this session. Back to you, Mr. Lojas, our moderator. Thank you.
Yes, at this time, let us welcome our speaker, please.
Thank you. Let me hope I'm audible.
Yes, Madam Sheba, you are.
All right. Thank you, the host, Mr. Mokalele and Mr. Wamono. Sheba, and yeah, I'm glad to be part of the session, and I won't leave the video on because of the network issues, so I turned it on for everyone to get to know who is talking to them. Good evening, everyone. Hoping everyone is okay. So privileged to be taking us through Scratch. And yeah, so I believe some people have heard of Scratch and they know what Scratch, what it does, but before we get to know what it is, I'm a teacher by profession, an ICT teacher, but currently I work with the Young Engineers Uganda as a STEM instructor. And our major goal is to train kids with STEM activities. So they are also introduced to robotics, and then that's how it develops their creativity, innovation. And then they solve problems. And I'm glad that as the curriculum, the national curriculum, that now is more of project-based. It doesn't deviate more when we get to these programs. So that's Sheba. So back to Scratch. I would like, and I'm kindly requesting, as a teacher, at times you would like to ask questions and what, but just in case there is something that is not clear, please write in the chat. Yeah, Scratch is a programming language, just like any other programming languages, but it's different in a way that the users use blocks when they are programming, so you can easily see what you want your code to do. Unlike I'm meaning the visual bits. So when it gets to other programming languages like Python, you should get to know there is nothing visual like that you should know the code. Yeah, so that's with Scratch. So Scratch, people have always known it to be used by kids, but I thought if even us as teachers, sorry, I don't know whether all participants here are teachers, but as teachers, it's really important for us to know Scratch. Why? Because when we look at our curriculum being project-based, at times it's hard to give a child, for example, if you wanted someone to come up with a project to use maybe a programming language which you haven't taught them. So it's so important that us as teachers, if we get to know how it works and how is it going to help us even during our lessons, because it's interactive and also you get, I mean, it entertains the kids as well. So if we get to know that, we can easily teach our students in class and they can easily come up with wonderful and great projects. Why I'm directing to projects is because these days, for one to be innovative, you should be in position to either solve a problem then that will help either your community or a school or maybe even at home, something like that. So that's why I'm more in the project-based learning. So so why Scratch? With Scratch, we develop different projects, that's one, but still, whenever you are teaching this child, they are getting exposed to different opportunities to think, back at school, we're used to cramming. When you cram, that if I'm reading about molecules, you have to get that very definition, you cram it, you put it in the question paper, yeah, like that. But now when it gets to programming, it opens someone's mind. They're not looking at something that is that they are seeing now, but they are projecting in the either days after, and then that's how one can easily come up with a project. And then the other thing, at times, when you look at the learners, they are exposed to different opportunities, not only programming. Fine, it's a programming language, but we can use it to teach. Yeah, it's interactive, it's collaborative, so we can use it to teach our learners in class. So we can develop maybe an activity which we want them to accomplish. Yeah, and then as they are working that out, it may not necessarily be an individual activity. It can be maybe in teams, or they're doing it as a class, depending on the resources. Or it can be maybe in terms of an assignment, or I don't know, depending on what the teacher would like. So it can be used for classroom demonstration and all that. Then with Scratch, because we are looking at the problem-based learning, we emphasize that point of communication. Why? Because if someone, even if it were a teacher that was learning Scratch, they should be able to communicate. What are you solving? Why did you come up with this? Why do you think it's going to help? So as you are thinking of all those questions, you are communicating. I mean, you are maybe convincing people that, hey, look at this. I came up with this. I'm doing this because of this reason. So in that way, you are communicating. So communicate, and then it leaves one with a question that if we can give teacher A what he or she requires, that will mean that what was the problem will get a solution. Yeah. Then, yeah, the last one with the experiments. Yeah, it can be used during class. So, and very many other reasons. I may not have exhausted all of them. So that's why we may need Scratch as a teacher, and also as after learning as teachers, why do we need to teach it to our learners? Why? I mean, in this era where we believe that we should not be consumers, we should be creators, we should be innovative people, we should be critical thinkers. Yeah, so that's why we should learn Scratch. I don't know whether there are questions at this moment, or we proceed to the real application. Okay. Sorry, I don't know whether there are questions. I've not looked in the chat, but I would like to start with the application. Sorry, I'm going to share my screen once again. Yeah, so we can install Scratch. It depends on one's availability with data. At times you can decide to work online or have that offline version. So I would like to know if there are those that have the application already for Scratch. Okay, all right, let's continue. So when hello, can you still hear me?
Yes, Sheba, you can continue. Members are hearing you.
Okay, please. So I wanted us to get to Scratch, the website. Okay, Scratch. Yeah, so I'm going to share this link here. So the link is there in the chat. Those that didn't have Scratch. So when you get to that link, you get to this interface. So as I had earlier communicated that we can have an online version where you can work and all your projects are saved there, and then we have an offline version. So in most cases, if you want to work with, save your work, you have to create an account. Sorry, yeah. So in fact, the interface should look like this, whereby you can sign in and then, sign up. You create an account, you create a password, and then you create an account with Scratch. Though I don't know whether there are people that are following with the steps. Should I take you through the steps of signing up, create an account? If there are those ones that didn't have Scratch.
I think you want to set up the offline version, or it is online?
Okay, all right. So okay, let's go by the offline version because it's easier when we are offline. So we can always download the application. When you scroll down of the link that I've shared with you, when you scroll down, you will see an option of downloading here under resources. So when you click that, the link, it will take you here. That is with the offline version. And now it depends on the operating system you have. So if you have Windows, you click on that here. Now, when you choose your operating system, then you scroll to this link. If you had a different one, you select it, a different operating system. So since I have Windows, I can go ahead to download. So as it's downloading, here we have, yeah, saving it there. So we have, it's downloading there. So as it's downloading, we always have to take note of where we are saving it. If you don't have it, if you don't have the download as your default folder for downloads. So hopefully those ones following that didn't have the applications you've downloaded. So I assume that we are on the same page. Yeah, so go ahead to open Scratch. Here. So this is how the application will look like, the interfaces. So yeah, we always have the logo on the left and all these other options follow. Now with this, if you are changing the language, you select it from there. And then we have the file. If, for example, you had started on your application and you are saving it, you click there. You can even load one if you had created one already. Yeah, and then this other option for edit here, and then tutorials. There are those tutorials that can always help when you are working. That is, if you want to follow to see that you can come up with that very project. So these are the tutorials. So you can click on any and see how they came up with that very project. So here we can change the project name. So as we know, it's good practice to have the project saved in the name that is in line with what we've created. So you can always change it from there. Now, below our ribbon, we have an option for code. So with a code, it will always display all these categories. There are very many. And for every category, it has a palette. So we shall look at those. And costumes, we have costumes, we shall also look at those, and sounds. So when you look at our application, we have this part in the middle here, where we always drag and drop the code. So you drag and drop the code here, but it will always depend on which sprite you are using. Now, a sprite is a sprite is that element that you're working with. It can be an animal, it can be a person. So all sprites that you use do appear below here. So why I talked about depending on the sprite, it's because in case you have very many sprites here down, you'll have to select every sprite and put the different code for that sprite on what you would like it to do. So, and then this other side where we are seeing this cut, it's what we call the stage area here. So for all the things that you program here, they will appear in this section on the extreme right. And up here we have 3 other options. The first one, if you would like to increase the area of the code, that's what you select. And this is the default one. This usually, the last one usually is usually applied when you are trying out your project. Yeah, so it will display a full screen of what you have programmed. Okay, so below this area here, we have the word Sprite. So it has Sprite 1 because it's the default. And as you had earlier mentioned, you can always, it depends on what you want. You can always rename or not rename. And then when it gets to the X and Y, we shall look at that because I want us to come up with a simple project. And then we know X is always horizontal and then Y is vertical. So it keeps on changing. For example, if you decide to move this sprite, by default, it was showing 0 somewhere there. But now when you change, then it keeps on, the values keep on changing. And the show and hide, the size, you can always increase the sprite. And then the direction will depend on where do you want it to. You want it to be upside down, then you change from there. So below we have an option here where we can always choose a sprite. So we have the search here. Let me tap there and see. So you can pick on any sprite depending on your project. You can categorize them if you wanted only animals, and yeah. Then we also have paint. You can paint your sprite. So when you click on paint, it will definitely take you here. And then the other option we had was surprise, and then upload. If you had, let me first get back to surprise. So there are those sprites that are in that section for surprise that will always appear. Okay, and then this other option for upload. Hey, what's happening? Upload here. You can upload a sprite. If, for example, you had an image and you would like to use it here, you can upload from this option here. Okay, then in the right hand corner, we have the option for backdrops. Backdrops will always appear as the background of what you are programming. So here it's showing white by default because it's what it has. But when you select here in this right-hand corner, you can pick on very many backdrops. So, and that depends on the project that you are developing there. And then we have paint. You can also add something to the backdrop. And then the surprise and upload, it works more the same as the Sprite. So yeah, I think that's all with this. Then we have going back to this other side of the code. Now we have these categories. For every category, you'll find more palettes that will help you work out different things. Now, when you get to motion, motion is movement. Let me delete that one. Motion is movement. So let's say, for example, if I wanted this sprite to move 10 steps, you drag the palette from where it is, and then you move it straight here. So when you drag that, let me add 20. So when I click enter here, so we want this sprite to move 20 steps. If I don't know whether these options up are visible. I think it's up here. I hadn't mentioned them. We have a green flag and this other icon that is red. So whenever you have your project and you've started your project, like you want to see how it's going to work, then you can click the green flag. Then if you want to stop it, then you click this other icon. Now, if we want this sprite to move the 20 steps, hopefully they will be visible. We can get to the other category. We have looks, we have sound, events, we have the control, sensing operators, variables, my blocks, and very many others that are not here. So if I want this sprite to move, we have a category, events. Under events, you can either decide to select the sprite, you select the sprite, or you click on the sprite and then it performs the action, or you can maybe press a key or get a message. So you have different palettes here that we can use in events, depending on what you would like it to do. So here on the on our sprite, if I wanted to use this event when this flag is clicked, then it's always in events here. So when you click this green flag, then I want this sprite to move 20 steps. So when you click the flag, it has showed that it was somewhere here and it moved. But now, if you wanted to do other movements, what do you do? Or how do you move that sprite? So we always check in the motion here on the left. Hopefully it's visible. So I wanted us to create together a simple project, and then we see how it comes out. Then I would like to hear from the participants whether they've fully downloaded Scratch and they can see this interface.
Yes, members, you can put up your hand now. I can make you to be able to give some feedback to our facilitator before she can continue. Mr. Ayinza, you can unmute.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers and Madam Sheba. How about when it comes to scenes now? I wish that character, I want it to alter the scene. Like now I want it maybe to put a background of a forest, and then the character must move maybe to another scene. Now, how do I alter? Do I again go back to events? Maybe clarify me on that. Thank you.
Okay, please. Yes, when you want to change, I think you made the backdrop, or maybe it's moving and then you want it to change after some steps. Then we have a category looks. Under looks, we have those sprites that will always, maybe it's receiving a message or responding to a message, and then switching a costume, or even switching a backdrop. So if you had a particular backdrop that you wanted that sprite to move to, then you drag this. You drag it and place it. Depending on the category, I mean, depending on the sprite. Depending on what you want the sprite to do. So you go to looks, the category looks, and then you look for switch to backdrop, or even next backdrop, something like that. Mr. Ayinza, hopefully I've answered your question.
Okay. Yes, members, any other question? There is a colleague who was asking whether if he has his tablet, maybe Android device, what can he do? Can it work on Android? That is Masereka Paul.
Okay, if it is a phone, an Android phone, that application has not yet been made to work on the phone, but if you have a tablet or maybe a Chromebook, there it's very possible. It's available on Play Store. But with a phone, it's not yet available.
Maybe they can use the browser if you can manage to navigate. Go and use the online version.
Yeah.
Okay, I think let us get these two, then you can be able to continue and show us more. So, okay, Dennis.
Good evening. Thank you so much.
Hey. Sorry, you can unmute again.
Okay, it's okay. Thank you so much, Madam Sheba, for the facilitation. And also, thank you so much, moderator. My question is the Sprite, which he has been using for illustration. When you go to this event, the illustration says when clicked. So the Sprite only moves when clicked, or there is a provision where the Sprite can move automatically after giving the command of 20 steps. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for the question. Now, I used that option of when clicked because I wanted us to, first of all, understand these two icons here, the green flag and the red icon. But I mentioned and said that if you've programmed it to use it won't move automatically. You're either going to you're either going to use either a key to initiate it to perform an action, either any key or any key on the keyboard, so it won't move automatically unless it won't move automatically. So you're either using a key or this flag, or maybe you want it to move. Yeah, so it won't move automatically. So it can only move automatically. Now, if you want it to move automatically, for example, here under motions, if you just want it to just go in random positions, for example, if we wanted it to go in random positions, and then okay. So even if it's, hey. So I wanted to use this as an example because you have to initiate the event. I mean, you have to initiate what you want the sprite to do. So even if you select these go random positions without, showing that what should start, always there is that start option of what you want that sprite to do or end. So here you can see it won't move. Hello, can you still hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, yeah, good. So, Mr. I don't recall the name. So, when you place the code here, so it's after you are clicking on this code that it's moving, you see? So why we use the green and red, it's because we want it to proceed with the initiate its movement on what we want it to do. Hopefully I've answered the question.
Maybe Sheba,
Yes, please.
someone was suggesting in the group that is Dan Kagadi, that let us do some simple programs such that we, because before people get more interest, because many people when they see this cat, they don't take this serious. But if you can do a simple project and they see something running there, then now we can have more questions. Maybe you can continue and you do something and complete, then we see. Because actually time is
It's past time.
I'm seeing time has even moved. So you just do something and then we see how we can wrap up here.
Okay, so I don't think it's going to be interactive since that time we have very little time. So I want to pick on this Sprite. And then I'm deleting this one because I won't really need it. And then the other Sprite I would use is, I want these to, yeah, this one. And then we'll change the backdrop to a blue sky. So we want this bowel to have these apples to keep on picking, but when it's keeping a score. So we can have this bowel to move to the left, to the right. That will mean that we are going to make changes with our x-axis. So we are changing x so that it's moving. Our ball can move along the x. So under motions, we have the change x. So here it has, let me check here. When you read out down here, it has, let's see, 207. So why I put 207, it's because when you move it along this line here, under here it was showing a negative 207. So positive when it's moving this side, then we'll have to change it to the negative side also. So we have to, we want this to be continuous, like to move whenever we are moving our, say for example, our buttons here, arrow buttons, yeah. But there is also an option that if this apple, for example, this apple was moving and then it falls before our bowel, okay, before we put our bowel where it's coming from, then we have that as a condition. So we have under control, we have this if pellet, that if, sorry, so if we believe that when we are going to move the bowel, as I had mentioned, we can use the left arrow key or the right arrow key. So we have in this category an option for sensing that if the key, for example, it's here, that if this key, the arrow key, that is, if the right arrow key is pressed, then change this to 207. 207 because we know the positive moves this side and the negative this side. So what will move the ball on the left will be our left arrow key. So when we proceed here, we want to have this, that when we click under events, that when we click the flag, then I'm pressing the right arrow key. Okay, it may not show now. So let me add the other code. So we have, as I mentioned, we want this to move forever. So it's still under control. Control, it's where we have the different conditions and of if an option is yes, then if we want it to move forever, then it shows. So here we have forever should be here. Very good. So we are putting this in forever because we want this to continue as these apples are moving down. Yeah, so yeah, so the other thing that we want our ball to do is we've programmed it to move to the right. Now we want it to move to the left. And I had earlier mentioned that we can use the left arrow key. So we are going to have two if. There would have been statements, but now they are blocks. So we have if, and now we are going to add another one. That if it should be outside. If we want this to move to the left, then we should use the left arrow key. Then we pick this pellet from the sensing category. Why? Because we want this left arrow key to match what we want the vowel to do. So when you drag the pellet here, then you look for the left arrow key. All right, so we are going to change this to read as negative because it's moving this side. It's moving to the left. So we are going to change the X here and drag it here. But this time around, it's going to be a negative. Why negative? Because when you look at the axis, negative is always on the left and towards the right is the positive. So that is with the vowel. And then scroll a bit here. Okay, hope it is visible. So when I click the flag there and I move the vowel, it's moving the vowel to the left and to the right. I'm clicking the left and right arrow keys. So we are going to proceed with how we want this to move. Sorry. So before you proceed, you'll have to stop this code so that you can proceed with this other one. So we have this apple, but we want it to keep on falling as we are collecting our apples in the barrel. So we have, we want it to move from up to down. So here we are using the y-axis. Here we are playing with the y-axis here. Y-axis. So we are going to, first of all, it can either move from here and down, or it can move from any corner from either that side to down. So if we want it to move from any of the positions, then we will definitely go to a random position, so that if it gets up and gets down, then we can easily collect it in our barrel. So we have, this is our first code for the apple, but now we want to change this y-axis, because we know that if our barrel, for example, if our barrel is here, and we know that our apple is going to fall in here, that will mean that it shouldn't fall outside if our barrel is here. If it meets that barrel, it should just get in there. Now we are going to change our y. We are going to make sure that when it gets here, it is getting to the barrel and the score is being saved there. So we have, this is 27. I'm getting the figures here, and this is 95. So if it hits this, by the way, you can also program it to, if it touches this color. So it depends on how you like to have it. So I want to change this y. It's showing 95 because here it's already 95. So we want to have that when it gets to the random position, then set the y to 95. So that when we click here, then that follows. So we want this to take place forever, just as the way we did this other side. So if we are changing, if we move this apple up, then that will mean that we have a positive figure up here, just as the way you see here. But when it gets down, then it gets to the negative values. Okay, so we have, we want to have this change 95 with the motion. So we are changing, we have y option here. Okay. So we are changing the y. We are changing the y. Oh, okay. Then let's make it to appear forever. Forever is here. Why are we separating this? It's because we have this option when we click, but now we also want to have the apple fall such that when it when it gets to the bowel, then it stops there. Then it goes back up. So we are using forever because we want to change these continuously. All right, so we have change y to 10. And then if, for example, it's meeting this, or if it falls down, then it won't be able to capture that value. So we have, sorry, this is moving fast. In our control, we have, let me put this down here. We'll join them afterwards. So if our Y position, if our Y position is, for example, if it fell down here, if it fell below, that will mean that it has to randomly move up to where it was. So we want this to appear that if we have a value that is less than our value here, then that will mean that it is getting up. So we are going to pick on these operators here. So we have our operators fixed in there, and then we put this position. Yes, please.
Sorry for the interview. However, I request members be posting their questions as you proceed in the chat, such that we are able to handle them as soon as you're done with that project due to time, so that we don't waste a lot of time for members. Thank you. So members, keep posting your questions in the chat. We can handle.
All right, so we have, yeah, so we have, we need to put our other pellets that will that captures the Y position. Yeah, so we have, let me first put this here. So we are putting the Y here. Oh yeah, so sorry. I need to get under motion. When you scroll down, we have, I was putting the set Y, yet I'm supposed to put the Y position. Why? Because we want this to move from up, down, and this is our Y. So if our Y position is less than, it shouldn't be less than 50, because 50, we have 50 somewhere up, but we had set it to 95 when it hits. Yeah, so that will mean that if we have, it should be, this is 1, should be negative 95. Why? Because when it gets down here, it's a negative. So if that is less, then we have to go back to the random position. Why random position? Because we expect it to move falling while it's falling down. So we have this other block that we want we have to put in here such that it is dropping forever. Okay. Let me first remove this. I want this to move forever. And then there is something I need to change here. You can see here, change y by 10. Okay, first stop. Then have this here. Why is the forever not getting there? The forever should get there. And then the if there, and then like that. So when I click on that, on the green flag, then it changes like that. But hey, how is this? Okay, now I will also have to change this because the Y position, if I set it to negative, it can't be still negative here. Let me first stop. Okay. All right. So let's first proceed and then we get to see. So now we have to bring in an element of the variable because we want to capture the scores now. So if this apple is touching the bowel, the ifs are in the control. So if the apple is touching is in sensing. Yes, so if it's touching the bowel, so when you click this arrow, it will show the bowel, so referring to our bowel. So if it's touching, then go to that random position. For example, if it touches this, then it goes back to a random position like that while falling down. Okay, motion is where we have the random pellet. So when it gets here, then it has to set our Y again. So we have our Y being around here. Yeah, sorry for delaying. I thought would have finished this. So we are setting our Y to 95. And then here we have we need to put a variable. So a variable, it's like a storage of, for example, if we want to put score is a variable that will keep our scores. So where do we get those variables from? We get variables from here. There is an option for variables. So we are going to create a variable called, we make a variable from here called score. Then we are going to set the variable such that if around here. Okay. So if we have this touch, then change the variable. Click on this arrow, score by 1. But now we need to be sure that if the score is going to change whenever it hits this, then whenever the game is starting, it should show a score of 0. So we are going to have this block of code. Scroll down. This block of code under our control in this forever. Okay. And then we set a variable. Set variable to 0. Our variable is score. And then we are going to have when this is clicked, that is the green flag. So when we click the green flag, okay. There is something we need to change here. When okay, so when this flag is clicked, it should be able to move. Okay, so we had to just cross-checking here, change y by 10 and then 95. And then here, yeah, there is a code that is actually not having this work. So if you happen to see it, please, you can notify me as I'm cross-checking here also. Yeah, so we have put forever. If that is that, then go to that random and then set y to 95. Okay.
Madam Sheba, just a moment.
Yes, okay.
My battery is running down for my gadget. I've
Mm.
remained with 1%, but I request if Mr. Mplala is on, let be notified in case I go off automatically.
Yes, I'm on.
Okay. All right, I'm finishing up. So change. Okay. So when it gets up, then change to that. And then move to that random position. Okay. All right, so
So this is debugging, making sure.
yeah, sure.
Your programming, eh? Bad thinking.
Okay, so we worked with the vowel, change the score, and it's that. And then this other one, change the y, then set it to that. So I'm just wondering why it's not. Okay. But this should be falling down. Then the issues with the Apple. Okay. Oh, but I had this already. Random position already. Has anyone seen? Okay, let me first have this here. Anything? Oh, okay. Let me check and see. Where is the 95? Why is it coming from nearby? It should fall down here. Is it the 124? I think I'm supposed to change this. Ah, have you seen the Apple fall? It folds. Let me change this one to, this is 197. 197 to negative 197. Why I'm changing this is because I want to see this move and then this Apple. I think I should give it a Y whereby it just gets there. A Y of 150. This is 173. Okay. All right, we are getting there. So this Apple, has anyone seen any pellet that was wrongly placed? Okay, have that Y then. Okay. Change the Y. Okay. Yeah, I've
Maybe Sheba,
yes, please.
I'm seeing, are you using like on the same Sprite, you have told it to do 3 actions when the flag is clicked. It is here going to a random position. Here it is going through this forever loop, changing these and even changing the white. And then again, there is this other forever loop down. So I think the program, I don't know whether
It's getting confused.
Yes, because
Yeah, sure.
all the actions are happening when arrow is clicked. So I think I don't know if there was having one like one.
Like having one when clicked and.
Yes, then several things can be done.
Oh.
Instead of having each of them on its own.
Okay, why I had this is because of the score. That when it's touching, then change the score to 0, and then that's why I separated it from this one. Yeah, so I'm just wondering why. Okay. Put it in another one, same comma. Yeah. Yes, please. We have, please, can you unmute? There is someone. Mr. Rogers, please. Okay, I failed to get the message. The message. I have. I think this
Okay,
is
maybe
someone was sending a message, but I failed to get it on how we can unmute, because I wanted us to have Jackson suggesting that. Oh yeah, that recording will be dropped. Kindly unmute. Not getting this person. Yeah, Mindset Coders had sent a message, but I failed to. Maybe when they unmute.
they were sending to your inbox.
Yeah, put random position before the forever.
Okay, Mindset Coders, please unmute. I can see Mindset Coders as doing this.
Hello, Teacher Sheba.
Hello, Valentine.
Yes, I was saying, I believe if you put what you had put, got random position, put it before the forever loop, in the, where there's the Y position, negative 95. Put it up there before, no, not that one. You wanted the apple to go to a random position.
Yes.
So put it after the green flag. No, you had it in a green flag before you got rid of it. Yes.
Oh.
Remember, you had 3 green flags, but you can just put it before. No, you can just put the instruction that you had before the forever loop on the.
In this block where we have.
In between there, yes.
Oh, okay.
So when the green flag is clicked, it goes to a random position, then the next scripts are.
Okay.
So you can try that and see what happens. The only difference is that it will not go up, it will go to even down, whatever position that you want it to come from.
Okay, so it's going down. Maybe the other thing I have to change is the this other position here. Yeah, because let me check and see. We have that as 197. Hey, this is taking long. People are... Okay.
Play around with the change Y by put 0 and see what happens.
Okay. Okay, that's why. Then when it hits here, it should be, this should be 95. All right, let me change this here then to Okay. Oh yeah, it's moving in the random because here, you can see, hide this here. Okay. Click the flag. Okay, so somehow, when that is clicked, and then as you move the left and the right, then the scores change. So I think I'm stopping here. Thankfully, that. So grateful for all the inputs, and thank you very much for the time and for those people that have clinged on up to. Sorry for being late, seriously.
Okay, thank you very much, Sheba. So colleagues, as you can see, this is serious programming, and one of the focus of Uganda's curriculum reform is critical thinking for learners. Learners can take on a project where they are going to demonstrate programming. And I wanted just to say something small as a final remark here. I will just share my screen here within just a minute. One, there are several videos on YouTube, and which you can use to learn more about Scratch. And if you just come and say Scratch tutorials, you can be able to get lots and lots of projects online, which will be able to do amazing things. So I believe even this video, Sheba would actually encourage you, when you get time, do work it through, and then you can record the video and you can share with us, can upload it on the YouTube channel, so that colleagues can be able to share. Now, when you go to Scratch, to YouTube, you'll find several videos, and you can be able to you can be able to learn more skills. Scratch mimics everything to do with most of the concepts of programming, variables, loops, what, very many things can be done, and learners can be able to come up with this. The other thing is, this can go beyond just these simple animations. It can go even up to this block-based programming, can go up to creating real apps. If you go to Gaza High School YouTube channel, the teachers have been engaging learners in creating apps, but if you ask them whether they have been using Java or Python, they will tell you no, they've been using block-based. So if I'm on YouTube channel and I'm searching, I will see several apps they are talking about here on this channel. So for example, let me just open one here. Let me open this one. So if I open this one, you'll see that they are having, it is some app that they are demonstrating, and it does something. So they have several apps that they have done here, but I know they have been using block-based programming to do these apps, and intentionally they use an app called this MIT App Inventor. But if you open this MIT Inventor, you realize that inside there is the blocks, which are, after learners have learned Scratch, they can go more and they go into this. So for example, here, if I say I create a new project here, and I go to blocks this side, you see that I'm already having blocks like they have been having in Scratch. So you can do program the logic, the math, the variables that Sheba has been telling us and others, and then you make a real functioning app that you can compile into an Android app. So learners can start with Scratch, and then after some time, they can go into MIT, such that when it comes to projects where they're competitive projects, and your learners have an app, everyone say, hey, these learners have done an app, but when they were using blocks and they were able to do something which does a problem solving. So they can win in science fairs, they can win in some of these competitions. Yeah, so basically that's what I can say. I want to encourage members. Then I've shared something on shareability. There is a document. I've just uploaded it now. Mindset Coders I think the other year, shared with us some document. I don't know whether Madam Valentine, whether this is okay to share with these members. I wanted them to get, there are some lessons I found in here they can follow. I've just uploaded this document. It's called the Beginner's Scratch. They can find it on Shareability. It is on the homepage, or you can go there and search. It has over 27 lessons which they can follow to learn more basics. Or you can follow, you do this code with your learners week by week. At the end of the day, they'll be masters in using Scratch. So Valentine, I hope I hope it's okay. So yeah, so basically, members, that is all I want to tell you for now. You try to get this resource, try to follow through some of those lessons, and also go to YouTube, try out projects, and be like Gaza High School. All right, thank you very much. I hope everyone had a nice session. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. Madam Sheba, thank you very much for sharing. Next time we can still have another session and we do more. Have a nice evening, members.
Thank you.